Hello horse people, in this video I show you some lunge and in-hand work with a 13-year-old mini-trotter. His name is Austin. He belongs to a friend of mine and I work him about 2 times per week in hand to keep him fit and sound. He's too small for me to ride him, but from the ground you can do a lot of nice things just to keep him elastic and happy. So, I start here on the lunge with trot canter transitions. As you can see, this circle is very small here. We maybe have a diameter of 13 meters, which makes it quite challenging, even for a pony small like him, to keep the canter. So I'm happy with some strides. So if he manages to do 8 to 10 strides in canter, I'm very happy. So once he did the trot canter transitions, I take him on to a smaller circle and I ask him for trot walk transitions. And I usually count him down. So I start with a longer sequence of trot, let's say 20 strides. And then I ask him to go back to walk. And you see the clue for him to go back to walk is the whip towards the shoulder. The clue for him to trot on is whip swinging behind his butt. So I ask him forward, whip to the front and walk, and now I ask for another, let's say 12 strides or so, and walk, and now I ask for 8 strides or so and walk, and now another 4 strides and walk, and then I release him on a bigger circle. I don't need any side reins. I do have the reins behind the stirrups, but they're very loose. It's just that he has a little bit of contact on the mouth, but it's in no way limiting him to take his nose up or down or left or right. So I start with a nice trot here on the right hand, right rein. So, and since he's a little bit more tense on this side, a bit stiffer on the right hind end, I ask him very quickly to canter, because usually he loosens up better in the canter. So even though the circle is so small, he is nicely bent, and even with no or very loose contact on the reins, he can hold the canter for quite a few strides. He's bent and flexed nicely, tail is swinging, he's not getting hectic nor leaning into the curve. I'm quite happy with this. Canter transitions, I take him on a smaller circle, I ask for a bit more bend, and I ask for transitions. So, and again I count him down. First I ask for a longer sequence of a slow trot, controlled. I don't want to say collected, because he is not collected here, but he is waiting for my command to go back to walk. As soon as I move my whip towards his front feet, he's in the walk. When I swing the whip behind his butt, he trots on again. So, and I count him down, so the sequences of trot are getting shorter and shorter. So he will anticipate the next transition, he will wait, he will bring the weight a bit more on the hind feet, and on the other hand he also knows that I will ask him immediately for another trot, so his hind end is getting quicker in each and every departure into the trot. So one more time, and I let him stretch down, forward, downwards. So I don't do nothing but giving him small impulses on my lunge to ask him to turn his nose into the driving direction. I don't hook the lunge into the bit. I use a leather holder with a buckle on the nose band, which I use like a covers on. It is very difficult to find a covers on for a small pony like him. Therefore, I just use a good leather holder with a buckle on the nose band, which is quite centered on his nose, so I can use it just like a covers on. So after the lunging on both reins, I do some in-hand work. So here we are in the shoulder in. Horse is flexed and bent towards the left. He describes a smaller circle with his front feet and a bigger circle with his hind feet. The inside hind foot would track into the track of the outside front foot. So whip onto the neck means for him the clue to stance, and I don't need to pull on the rein to stop him. I just press the whip onto his shoulder and he will stop without interference on the hand. I ask him again for a shoulder in position. I go in a counter shoulder in by changing the direction. I change through a figure of 8. I'm now at the outside of the horse. Counter shoulder in, and I do the figure of 8 once again so that I get back into the shoulder in position smoothly. I stop, I give him a pat. I have to be careful that he's not pulling his head down too much because he likes to rub his face, and then it's a little bit difficult to get everything sorted. So just a short break and I continue in the shoulder in. Horsey nicely bent and flexed towards the inside. I go a little bit straight, then I change through a figure of 8. Maybe you can see that we quite in sync, so my feet are mirroring his front feet. So I ask him for a renvers, I push the hind end out, and I tap him a little bit on the butt, which he finds a little bit uncomfortable. You see he's tossing his head and he tries to push his butt in because it's quite difficult for him. So I give him a stroke his nose just to calm him down. Here we have some few diagonalized steps, still far away from a proper piaffe, but we are getting there. We do the same thing on the right hand. So we're here in the shoulder in now. I do it along the wall. When I want to start him out of the hold, I touch him with the whip on the belly, somewhere where the leg of the rider will later be, so that he makes a connection between the touch of the whip and the later leg gait of the rider. So I do my figure of 8 again. Now I'm at the outside. Horsey is in a counter shoulder in, crossing with his right hind foot in front of the left. And he remains in a nice rhythm, and he's mirroring my feet. And we go back to shoulder in smoothly, whip on the shoulder and hold. I ask for a forward drive again. I tip him a little bit with my whip onto his bum bum. I ask him to push the butt a little bit further out. The hind is on a bigger circle than the front, and I do my figure of 8 once again. So in this time I pick up a bit more left rein and I try to flex him into the driving direction so that he ends up in a travers, in a haunch in position, which he cannot hold for long. No? That's very difficult for him, but slowly we're getting there. And we're going back to shoulder in position, and here I try a little bit of piaffe. Yeah. So he's getting an idea of and gives me a puck. Yep. And that was it for today.